Hey kids, it's story time, and that means I'm going to tell you a very exciting story again. This time I'm going to tell you a story about the heron and the crab. Once upon a time, there lived a heron that lived beside a big pond in a forest. He enjoyed eating fish and other creatures from this very pond. But the years flew by and the heron became old and feeble and could no longer search for food for himself. He had to find another way to get his daily food. One fine day, the heron stood in the middle of the pond on one leg. He let all the frogs and the fishes pass by, unhurt. This surprised every creature in the pond. The crab was very curious about why this is happening, so he went to the heron and asked him, "What's the matter, uncle? Why haven't you caught a single fish today?" "Times are not what they used to be, my child," replied the heron. "I heard that they are converting the pond and filling it up and making it a farm. That means that everybody in the pond will die." "Oh no!" exclaimed the crab. "I must go and warn the other creatures." So the crab quickly went underwater and warned every creature in the pond. The heron was very pleased and amused with himself when he saw that little crab skittering about and warning everyone about their doom. This news spread across the pond and everybody was frightened. So they all went to the heron and begged him to rescue them. "Oh, please, heron, please save us, please save us." Do you see all the fish begging the heron to help them? Let's see what happens. The cunning heron looked down upon them very thoughtfully and said, "I know how I can save you. If you're willing, of course. There's this big pond on the other side, not so far away from here." And all the other fish, not knowing what to do and scared out of their wits, crowded around the heron saying, "Please pick me, pick me, pick me, please." Very pleased, the heron replied, "I am old and feeble, and I can carry only one of you at a time." The helpless fish agreed, and then the heron started carrying away one fish at a time. Do you see the heron there? He looks pretty happy, doesn't he? Do you think that the heron is taking those fishes to the pond that he promised them to? I don't know. Let's wait and see. Oh no, that doesn't look like a pond, does it? The heron did not keep up his promise and take the fishes to the pond. Instead, he put them out on this big rock and he sat there and ate them. The crab began to get suspicious of the heron, and so he observed the heron. One day, the crab went to the heron and said, "Oh, uncle, please help me. You've been helping all these fishes for so long. Now it's my turn. Please, please help me, a poor crab." The heron was very pleased with this idea and thought it was time for him to try a different flesh. So he picked up this crab in his beak and flew away. As the heron kept flying, the crab looked down on the rock and saw a pile of bones. He immediately knew that these were the bones of the fish that the heron had taken from the pond. Crab was frightened, but he gathered up his courage and asked the heron, "Oh, uncle, how much further is this pond that you talk about?" And then the heron replied with a laugh, saying, "What pond? There is no pond. Get ready to die." The crab was very clever. He used his claws and grabbed the heron's neck and dug it into his flesh. The heron screamed and tried to get out of his clutches, but in vain. Soon they tumbled down to the ground, and finally the heron died. The clever crab dragged the dead heron back to the pond and told all the other creatures about his cruel betrayal. And that's when all the creatures thanked the crab for saving their lives. The crab said, "I hope you've learnt your lesson from this incident. One must always remember that a sweet tongue can sometimes be deceitful." And that brings us to the end of this story. Did you like this story? What did you learn from this story? That you cannot simply trust what everyone says. You have to remember that trust has to be vested in those who are worthy of it. Do you know how to get a staple supply of stories? Click on the subscribe button and subscribe to Appu Series. Until then, take care kids. Bye bye.